Oh, hi folks. If you're watching this, then you're probably a service member or a veteran who needs a DVA report done for mental health conditions. So, welcome. The reason why we've done this whole thing that we've done is there's such a huge backlog of DVA reports that need to be done, and they can take months and months and months to actually happen, which leaves people in a very kind of precarious position. So we're trying to streamline things. What that means is I can get the report done for you quite quickly, but there's a bit of work that you need to do to make that happen. All right. So this is what we're going to talk about now. All right. Jess is here because there'll be questions. She doesn't understand the process fully, and nor do you guys. So she'll get to ask the questions like, "Why do you do that?" And that way, you guys hopefully will have your questions covered as we go. All right. So we're going to get into it.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So the first thing is there's you want to get your hands on your service record, okay, your ADO service record. Now you can get that from PM Keys, all right, or if you've already been discharged, you would have been given like a whole kind of folder full of information, including your service record. The reason why we need that is you want to be able to easily access your dates where you were posted to different places, okay? You want to be able to access your dates of awards and accommodations and things. You want to be able to access when you were promoted, all that kind of bizzo, it'll all be there, and that way you won't need to kind of remember that information or try and dig it out of a diary or something, okay? So grab that, that's the first document you need, okay? Once you've got that, I'm asking you to prepare two different documents, okay? The first one is the summary of postings and adversities document, all right? You take as long as you like with this. It doesn't need to be your life's work. It should be quite brief, okay? Basically, it's like a CV, all right, of your service, all right? So it's going to start off with, a friend of mine has agreed to use his information there. So 1989, he went to HMAS Cerberus as a trainee. That was recruit school. He didn't endorse any adversities there. So not only is it where you were there many particular adversities that you encountered? All right, and I just mean that could be just really stressful situation, bullying, that kind of thing. You've got a question?
Okay, so adversities basically, did anything bad happen that may or may not include trauma? So there may be some double up, or
Yes.
there's stuff here in adversities of it wasn't great that doesn't make it into the trauma headlines.
Yeah, so not everyone has sort of like capital T trauma.
Yeah.
Okay, but plenty of people have lots of adversities, whether it's bullying or incompetent work practices that they have to endure, whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
There's going to be adversities in a lot of, not in every posting, thankfully. Okay, but that's going to be part of service. Or maybe you were at ADFA and one of your colleagues, something dreadful happened and that really stressed you out. Okay, so adversities is kind of can be little t trauma or capital T trauma.
Yeah, so it could be stuff that you were aware of, stuff that you heard about, stuff you were exposed
Stuff
to.
that stressed you out.
Yeah, didn't necessarily happen to you, but it added layers to the stress. Okay,
yeah.
yep.
So basically for each position, so you'll be able to get the dates from your service record. So in this case, February 1990 to April 1993, HMAS Brisbane. And then, if there were operations that happened, you'd also include that here. So he went to RIMPAC and did pre-deployment workups. Adversities in that point were, back in those days, there was a lot of bullying going on. There were threats of it. If you didn't do your job properly, basically you got punched in the head at your console. It was not pretty. Very high tempo situation. And then in 1990, while still on Brisbane, he got deployed on Operation Damask 2 to the Persian Gulf. And then lots of adversities there. So, yeah.
Question. If what they have available is their service record, because I know when I've worked with military people, they would get their service record kind of spit out at the end and it would be incomplete or there were holes. Is it okay if there's more information in this that doesn't necessarily match up?
Yeah, that's okay.
That's not going to cause probably
that's
DVA
okay.
reporting later?
I don't think so. This is more, the point of this is if you haven't had capital T traumas and we still need to link a mental health condition to service.
Yeah.
Well, we need the ammo for that.
Yeah.
Okay. If it's just like I had all these postings and no comment, well, how are we saying that the thing is service related?
Yeah. So this is showing the justification for later where you get to with the diagnoses around the mental health issues, because you've got to be able to show this is where it started.
Because these kind of adversities, they can cause anxiety disorders, they can cause chronic insomnia, they can cause depression, they can cause alcohol abuse. They don't tend to cause PTSD.
No, particularly probably not early on. The PTSD would come later.
Yeah.
Cumulative.
Well, yeah. I mean, exactly. I mean, there may well be things that obviously have caused
course.
PTSD, but we really sort of focus on those in the next document.
Okay.
Okay. So this is the second document that I need you guys to prepare. So the first one is like a CV of your work postings and adversities. The second one is service-related trauma. Okay, now you might not be able to do this. Okay, you might need help from your psychologist or from your advocate or from a family friend. All right, there's a video that you could watch which summarises how to do this. We'll link it. Okay, we'll put the link up wherever the links go. All right, and that particular video talks you through this process in detail. I'm going to give you just the nuts and bolts now. All right. What I don't want you to do when you're considering trauma is go into big detail, because it tends to provoke a lot of emotion and it can really be distressing for people. All right. So I do not want you to unpack yourself. All right, especially not by yourself. Okay. So I just want just the absolute basics. Okay, and we can't get more basic than this format that I'm going to explain to you. Part one. Okay. What was your age, rank, role, and job when this thing happened? Okay, so in this case, 19-year-old seaman, radar plotter, EOTS operator. Okay, so now we know who we're talking about, all right? And I want you to sort of, by saying just your age and your rank, it's almost like you're talking about someone else. It's not like this happened to me, I experienced blah, blah, blah. All right, we want to minimise the emotional connection to this information. Okay, at this point.
How much jargon can they go into, and how many TLAs can they use? Like all of the TLAs just to expedite, or spell some stuff out for your... Like, you're good, but there'll be some that might... I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Electronic optical something.
Right, okay, so for the sake of Dr. Al, please spell it out for him.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't really mind. It's helpful for me to know, but it's not critical. Okay, so yeah, if you use weird acronyms, spell them out. Why not? All right, so that's the who. Okay, and then it's what occurred in just a few sentences only. I don't want paragraphs on this. Okay, we want this, and imagine this is like something you'd be reading in a newspaper headline. Okay, hence trauma headline. So in this case, monitoring for sea mines was critical for the safety of the vessel and the crew, as missing a contact would be fatal. The pressure and the threat was unrelenting, and other vessels had struck mines with loss of life. Okay, so that's probably quite a lot of detail, really.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess if you want to, if you're on the cusp of writing this and that's too much, you could just say unrelenting pressure monitoring sea mines. Okay, that would get it done.
Yeah,
that would get it done, and I could probably put the rest in anyway. All right. Then what was your emotional reaction to what happened? So in this case, I was on edge constantly, even off watch. I knew how real the threat was, and I barely slept for months. Okay, so the emotional threat. Okay, what it kind of did. I was freaking out. I couldn't sleep. I was really jumpy. Whatever it is.
Can we add some behaviours in here? So like kind of this was when I started drinking, or this is when I kind of started this. This is when this other problem kind of manifested and occurred.
Yeah, that would be a reasonable thing to add here. Yeah, we get to that in other parts, but that would be a good thing to add here. Okay, and then also, so where were you? So if it was an operation, what was the operation? What was the geographical location? Okay, when did it occur roughly, and over what kind of period of time? Was it like it happened just in one day, or it happened over a week or months?
Okay, and you'll match.
Yeah. Well, it's not. Yeah, I mean, ideally we want these dates to coincide. Obviously, I mean the operations happen when the operations happen, so the coincidence of information will be built in.
Yeah.
Then what I'll do is I'll juggle that into a paragraph. Okay,
right.
And that'll enter into the report. Okay,
so you do that bit.
Yeah, I mean, by all means, if you want to do it, the more you guys do, the quicker it is. Okay.
But there's a dialectic there, right?
Yeah.
Because the more you do, the more you risk unpacking yourself. And if you don't have the skills in this, if the idea of just even talking about scanning for mines is already upsetting you, which it may very well be if you've kind of got a lot of PTSD triggers and not enough skills, then you keep it brief, pad it out.
And I'll do it.
And that's fine. You work within your limitations, because what we don't want is for this report to be so destabilising that we have to admit you because of a Word document.
Yeah, exactly. Now, this is important, right? This is not for everyone, okay? Like if you're kind of, just on the edge, then this is not for you. You're going to need to do this over a course of a number of sessions with someone.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't have that capacity, so that'll be with someone else. Okay, but that's something that you might need to do. You could work through this with your psychologist, or if someone who knows you well, maybe someone you served with, and they're not traumatized, they could fill it out for you. I mean,
DVA advocate?
Matter. Maybe, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, if they have the gist of what's going on. Okay,
yeah.
So you don't need you can get whoever you like to help you with this. Okay, it doesn't need to be you. It just needs to have just those basic details. So who, so age, rank, role and job,
Yeah.
what occurred in a sentence or two, what was the reaction to the occurrence, and where and when an
Yep.
operation. That's it.
Yep.
And so you do this for each trauma. All right. So this is not a picnic to undertake.
Yeah.
All right. However, it's helpful not just for the report, but if you go ahead and do trauma work, this is gold.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. This is kind of what you need, and this is where you'd start. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So they're the two documents. As I said, service record and these two documents: summary of postings and adversities, service-related trauma or trauma headline.
And how will they get these kind of templates?
Yeah. So I think we'll put up on our website. We'll put a page up. So
As a resource?
yeah, no, I actually think I want to have it as a like a link that's not for all comers.
Okay, all right.
So it'll probably be www.thepsychcollective.com/DVA.
Okay.
Okay, and we'll put templates of these documents there, and we'll just put detailed instructions and all
Yeah,
the links
nice.
that you're going to need to get to the forms and things will be there as well. Okay.
Okay,
All right.
all right.
Oh, the other thing is, if someone sent you this link, all right. I wouldn't just go ahead and crack through it because I might not be able to do this for you. Okay, so this is basically for people who I have agreed to do this for you. All right.
Okay,
So
good.
don't just sort of otherwise you're putting a lot of time and effort into something that might go nowhere. All right. So make sure that I'm on board for doing this for you before you commence the process, please. Cool. All right. No?
So, yeah, yes. And is there any scope of us getting other psychiatrists on the board later? That's probably a discussion for later, but
Yeah, well, look,
Maybe.
maybe. Apparently, I've been told, I don't know if this is true, but there's something like 20,000 outstanding reports. Okay.
and not enough psychiatrists
Yeah,
to get it
I mean,
done.
look, this is the problem, right? So, most psychiatrists don't know how to do these reports. Okay, they take a ton of time, so people hate doing them, and then often you're waiting for months for the report. Oh, guess what? It's not adequate, so you need another report. Like it's a nightmare. Okay, this will be adequate. Okay, this will be as adequate as I can make it.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So next bit. Okay. Now the next bit is there's 3 online forms. You only need to do 2. You only need to do 2, but you'll need to get someone else to do the third one. Okay. I'll explain in a sec. Okay. So the first form, this is where you're going to paste in that information that you've gathered. So the summary of postings and adversities document and your service-related trauma document.
Okay, so they don't email you the Word document, they write out the Word document, copy, paste
Yeah.
into here,
Yeah.
right? So this is a Google Forms doc. So this sits exclusively within our database.
Yeah.
It's HIPAA compliant, which is privacy and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I don't even have access. I don't look at these
Yeah,
or
so
anything.
this is as kind of secure as I can make it. All right. Now, like if NORAD are putting their energy into cracking it, maybe they'll crack it. All right?
Don't. That's not a challenge. Please don't hack us.
But yeah, it's as secure as we can make it. Okay. Now you'll paste that information in that you've written on those
Yep.
previous forms, and this is also where you'll add in your operational history and your dates of your awards and accommodations as well. Okay. You can just cut and paste that from your service record or type it, whatever you prefer. All right. It is quite a long document. Okay. Now, most of it's sort of, it's a lot of typing on this document. You have to type in your age and your gender and your blah, 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 blah. And you go on and on and on. And it basically populates a lot of history. Okay.
Yeah.
And that starts to generate the report. Okay. It's not the final version, of course, but it gets a lot of the kind of, just the grinding stuff that takes ages to do, that gets automatically done.
Yep.
All right. So you go through all that. I reckon you want to set out an hour for that. All right. Now, I reckon it'll take you a lot less than that, but you don't want to do it in dribs and drabs. I don't trust that it will save properly if you just do half of it now and then half of it later. You want some dedicated time. All right. And you want to just punch it all out in one shot. Mm-hmm. Okay. It doesn't need to be perfect. Okay. But you just got to get something down. All right. So then have a break, all right? Don't do it, like pat yourself on the back because that's a fair bit of work, all right? When you're ready, you do the next form, which is over here, okay, Form 2. Now this one is a lot easier, okay? There's very little typing in this form. It's mostly tick the appropriate box. These are sort of standardized psychometric measures, so it's not exactly fun, all right? But it's not super difficult to do, all right? So I think if you were inclined to, you could probably get through this in like 20 minutes, but spend some time on it, okay? Now later on, so the first sort of batch of questions here is they're really just getting into symptoms, okay? So symptoms of PTSD, anxiety, alcohol use.
You got a sleep one in there?
Yeah, sleep, sexual dysfunction, all kinds of stuff like that. So it's a long kind of form. You go through that. I would click next, but because it probably won't.
Yeah, it'll force you to answer.
Yeah. So I haven't. So, but the next section is the severity ratings. Okay, under GARP, which is it's basically it's the sort of the legislation kind of angle of how they figure out how impaired you are and how many points you get, okay? And how many points you get has a big, bearing on your entitlements, okay? So you want to really take your time with that, okay? Now, you might have good days and you might have bad days. So if this is saying how severe is your distress or whatever, do you pick a good day or a bad day? The advice from DVA is you pick a median day. All right,
Okay.
so if you like
Average
the
out.
average, you
Yeah.
try and average it out. Like if you have one day a week that's an absolute shocker, like 10 out of 10 bad, and all the rest are 2 out of 10, maybe that would end up being like a 6 out of 10, something like that. All right, but I don't really mind. You just put whatever you think is a true reflection, okay? Because we are going to have an assessment, and we'll talk about that stuff as well. All right, so you put whatever you think. If I think you're lowballing it, I'll upgrade it. If I think you're highballing it, we'll have a talk. We might need to downgrade it, but that's something that we'll do in our assessment. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, and then once you've done those 2 forms, that's kind of all the work you need to do, really. Okay. So you've done the 2 preparatory documents.
Yep.
You've cut and pasted them in, and then you've done the 2 online forms. Pretty much, I can do the report off that, except I need some corroborative information. So you get to nominate whoever you like. It can be your wife, it can be your mum, it can be someone you served with, it can be your GP, or ideally, a couple of those people, all right? And you send them the link to Form 3. Form 3 is here, okay? So they'll just type in your name, okay, their name, their contact, and then they will get to click on what they think about your severity of distress and so forth. So you rate your severity of distress, you get some informants to rate your severities, and then I'll rate your severities, and we'll sort of put all that together and we'll come up with a result. Okay, that's how it works.
Psychologists could do this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so whoever you're working with, whoever knows you, I mean, I think it probably looks better if it's a GP or a psychologist rather than your mum, all right? In terms of, but it doesn't, but just the more informants you have, the better.
The way this link works, can you send it to your partner and your
Whoever you
psychologist,
like.
and then you've got 2 coming in,
Yeah.
and you'll just match it up in the back
Yeah,
end?
yeah. As long as they put in your name, I'll be able to match it up.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, and look, it's quite quick for them. This is probably a 5-minute form for them to do.
Yeah, okay.
I would
Because you're
say.
only you had a bunch there, but you're only picking one
Yeah,
out of each
yeah. So
chunk.
severity of stress. Now, it might be that they can't comment on this, so they just click, I can't comment on this because they don't know you well
Yeah,
enough or whatever.
okay.
All right, or they might go, yeah, overwhelming, blah blah blah. So this is the same that's on the on the form that the veteran or the serviceman
Right.
member would have filled out. Okay.
Okay.
So then I collate all that information. Once I've got all that, okay, I'll contact you and offer you an appointment as soon as I can. All right. And if I already know you, we might not need all that much time. Okay. If I don't know you, we'll might need a couple of hours. It just depends. All right. And I will do all the bits and pieces that need to be done. All right. I'll clarify all the stuff, and it's my goal from when we have our assessment. It's my goal to get it done in a week. Now, I'm not going to promise a week, but that's I might be on holidays or something, right? As if. But that's what I'm aiming for. Okay. And that's why I don't want it sent to like 1 million people, because there's no way I'll be able to deal with the turnover. Okay. So if you've got the link, it means you've been given it. Hopefully. Because I've said we're working together on this, and here's the link, and I've sent it to you. So probably don't share the link, far and wide, or at all. And that's it. That's the process. So does that anything not make sense?
No, good. I think it's just making it clear. Write the Word documents before you even touch any of these Google Form stuff.
Yeah. So you need to have your service record. You need to write your summary of postings and adversities, that sort of CV document, and your service-related trauma You please don't start until those are done, because I can't action it without that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And if they haven't done this, then the DVA form won't be going, or the report won't be going ahead.
Yeah, if you haven't cut and pasted those things into the form, you basically can't progress. Okay, you can't. Yeah, it's it'll yeah, and I can't write the report without that information.
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Cool. All right. So look, thanks. Good luck. I know it's not easy. If you need help, please get help. Say a family member, a friend, an advocate,
Psychologist, GP.
Yeah, you have to think about who could support you through this process if you need it, and get that support.
We might chuck in a link on this to some skills that you could use while you're going through it if you're getting a bit churned up as well. So we can help you out there.
All right. Cool. All right. Thanks a lot, folks. Good luck.
See ya.